Back. This is round 2 of the Fort Wayne, Indiana midseason showdown here at Indiana Tech. So we have Jake Hockemeyer with a Swampert, Pelipper, Ferrothorn, Tapu Koko, Cresselia, and Salamence. And we have Alex Collins with a Incineroar, Gengar, Landorus, Tapu Fini, Zapdos, and Kartana. So we see a rain option over on Jake's side. And on Alex's side, it looks like just like a standard six good Pokemon. There's also a Trick Room option on a potential Trick Room option on Jake's side as well. So he can either choose to go fast or slow, depends on which mode he chooses. And on Alex's side, looks like we also have a fast mode and then a faster mode, so a little more of an aggressive team. We can see Alex already having his 4 selected, so he's pretty confident on what he's going to be using here. Alright, so we're going to go head right into this game 1 with Jake versus Alex. We're going to be viewing things from Jake's perspective. Alright, so it looks like Jake is sending out Pelipper and Tapu Koko versus Alex's Incineroar and Kartana. So then we have a more of an advantage on Alex's side right now because he does have that fake out pressure. Fake out is a fairly common. Let's see. Looks like Fake Out's a very common move to be using right now just because of the potential tempo swing that it does bring to the game. It lets you hold down a threat while being able to take care of the other threat or even double targeting into one. So we see that Fake Out going into Pelipper, fearing that potential Tailwind. And the Thunder with the 100% accurate Thunder in the rain going down on that Kartana, proccing the Focus Sash, and Tailwind is now set up. So Alex decided to pick his faster mode, so that's very an aggressive start coming out. See if Jake's going to be able to handle the pressure that's about to be brought. Because normally when players do Tailwind, they do not tend to switch out that often. They normally try to take advantage of the 3 turns that they do have with the extra speed. Alright. So Leaf Blade not quite doing enough to knock out that Pelipper. And then the spread from Dazzling Gleam is enough to pick off that 1 HP Kartana. Doubling into Pelipper, trying to prevent the opposing Tailwind from setting up, it looks like. And it also reveals a Focus Sash. It's good information to have going into the future games in this round. Alright, looks like Gengar's coming out for Alex and Swampert's coming out for Jake. Alright, so if this is a Mega Swampert, then it will have the Swift Swim ability, which should match the Tailwind that Alex set up on turn 1. And with the new Mega Evolution mechanics, it gets that speed as soon as it Mega Evolves. So that's a little bit of a buff to Mega Swampert there. Alright, Ferrothorn's coming in, potentially to take a Sludge Bomb from Gengar. And then Incineroar's coming back out, or switching out to Tapu Fini to possibly take a Muddy Water or a Waterfall from Swampert. Alright, so we do see Mega Gengar, so Jake's Pokemon are indeed locked in right now. So if you're on Jake's side, you got to be very careful about your board position, because as soon as Alex will see a spot where he can get an advantageous board position, he's just going to bring that Mega Gengar and lock you in. So we see that waterfall coming across into that Lander slot, or that Incineroar slot, and Tapu Fini taking that really well. Alright. So what would Jake do in this situation? Alright. So it looks like players taking their time here. This is a very tough turn. So Tapu Fini now switches out, coming back into Incineroar. Let's see if Jake was able to read that switch. Alright, Shadow Ball coming across. Doing... oh, the Earthquake. That's going to do a lot of damage to both Gengar and Incineroar. But it looks like the Intimidate was enough to let him survive for one turn here. Alright, so the Berry proccing onto Incineroar to get it back and healthy. And a Power Whip going into the Fini slot there. So that was a pretty good switch on Alex's side. So Tailwind now has ended, so now Swampert is indeed the fastest thing on the field right now. So that is a pretty big swing in tempo onto Jake's side. Let's see what if he can ride this into a victory. Might see a potential switch out of Incineroar back into Fini. Alright, looks like Alex. And here we go. Gengar is protecting, but no switch outs, it looks like. Okay. Looks like he's just going to let Incineroar get knocked out to get the switch into Fini. And Ferrothorn's going to curse, giving it a little more attack and a little more damage out of Gyro Ball as well. Also to be able to take a little bit more physical damage. So Leftovers is topping off Ferrothorn from that hit that it took from its partner. Alright, so Fini is now back on the field. And with Rain Gun, it looks like Gengar is now the fastest thing back on the field. Alright. Is the Muddy Water enough to knock out this Swampert? Yes, it is. Alright. So now, we just have that Ferrothorn and Koko versus these last two. Alright. So can Ferrothorn and Koko knock out this Fini? I would believe so. So while this game's finishing up, we should try to think about what adjustments both players can make here going into the next game. Alright, we have a Protect coming from Fini, possibly trying to scout out some extra information. And we do see the Volt Switch coming off from Koko there. So added information. Alright, so with that extra information, Alex says, alright, let's go ahead and move on to game 2. So if you're on Alex's side, what do we think that would help him out later on in this next game coming up? The Swampert did provide a lot of pressure that Alex wasn't able to handle in the rain. So maybe losing Kartana that early lost the check that Alex had to Swampert, and Swampert was able to run free on his team. And I guess if you're Jake, if you're trying to play Protect the Swampert, then you need to be able to knock out that threat of Kartana. So it looks like Alex is ready to go ahead and go on in the game 2. Alright, so both players selecting their teams relatively quickly. Alright, so let's see what adjustments both players did end up making. Alright, so we do see Pelipper and Tapu Koko again versus Zapdos and Incineroar, so we do have some interesting interactions here. From that ability order, we do know that Tapu Koko is the fastest thing on the field and Incineroar is the slowest thing on the field. However, with that fake out with priority, speed really doesn't matter. Alright, so fake out onto Pelipper to prevent that Tailwind, and we're going to go ahead and go into the Z move here. It looks like that is going to be Electrium Z. Possibly going to go into that Zapdos. Oh, and it is not enough. Alright, so that Tailwind has indeed set up. So here for a couple turns, Alex does have the initiative. Alright, so with Rain, we might be able to see a switch out from Tapu Koko back into that Swampert in this position here. Or maybe Pelipper switching out to Swampert to take the potential Thunderbolt coming. Alright. And we see a Protect and no switches. Possibly trying to read into the read. The double Protect is coming out to eat up a turn of Tailwind. And we do have a Roost, so the Zapdos is going to be back to full after this turn. Alright, and the Taunt goes right into the Protect. So some good information gained on Jake's side that the Incineroar does indeed have Taunt and Zapdos does indeed have Roost. So Alex still does have the advantage on the board right now due to that Tailwind. So here comes that Swampert, hopefully to take that Thunderbolt into that slot, which it does. And Thunder's coming across right into the Zapdos. It takes it down to half. And the Flare Blitz does do about 10% to that Swampert. So looking at this, the Swampert should be able to put enough pressure on the Incineroar to be able to force a switch out here. And let's be mindful that Alex only has shown Incineroar and Zapdos, so we do not know what's in the back yet. Alright, and we do see another Roost on Zapdos. Interesting interaction here. Since he has Roost, the Thunder will be not very effective. Because for this turn, Zapdos does lose the Flying type. Alright. And we do see Gengar coming in. Alright, now Swampert is still putting a lot of pressure on these two Pokemon, threatening either a Waterfall or an Earthquake. And Tapu Koko is indeed going to be one of the speedier things on the field as well. If you take a look at the time remaining for both players, you see that they have both been using a fair amount of time from this game. Some very difficult decisions being made. So Mega Gengar is back out and going into that immediate protect. And that Waterfall does go into Zapdos. A nice read on Jake's side. And now it is 4-2. Alright, electricity has disappeared. So now Tapu Koko's electric type attacks aren't doing as much. So there is the Kartana. So is it able to deal with the Swampert while it's vulnerable in this one spot, in this one point in the game? Because the Gengar is preventing a switch out, a proper switch out with that Shadow Tag ability. Alex is feeling the pressure. Alright, Sludge Bomb going right away into Tapu Koko, knocking it out. Alright, and then the Tailwind does come out. And it looks like Jake did see that coming and does get the Earthquake off. Alright, Gengar is down. So now it is this lone Kartana versus the world. Both players engaging in friendly banter right now. Alright. Now the Swift Swim has matched the boost of Tailwind. However, I do believe that Kartana is still faster than this Swampert. And there's the Leaf Blade. So Swampert is down, however, the Pelipper gets a free hit onto this Kartana. And there's the Hurricane, and it is enough to knock out Kartana. And Jake will win this series 2-0 over Alex.